Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Here to Edify. I am your host, Astrid, and this is episode 22. Here to edify. 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 Today, I am sitting down with Natasha Ramirez, the founder of Size Healthy Fitness. She owns a all-women's fitness center and is doing some amazing things, and her story is even more amazing. So today, we're just going to have a conversation about what she's doing now, which is just a point and, Lord willing, a very long journey. I'm just going to start with asking if you can share a little about your journey and how you came about starting Size Healthy Fitness.
Okay. Again, my name is Natasha Ramirez, and I am the owner of Size Healthy Fitness. And the way it got started was I was a morbid, obese woman. I've been a big girl all my life. And at some point, I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. Tried everything, did everything, didn't see any results. And I wasn't looking for a quick fix, but I wanted to be healthy. So I had contemplated several times, and like I said, it was when I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. So I finally made the step, went to a gastric bypass seminar and sat down and listened to all what they had to say, put my name on the list, was called back and said I was a great candidate for it. So I went ahead and did all the workups for it and decided I was going to go ahead and go forth and lose the weight. However, did not realize this journey was going to take me forever, meaning God said, I'll let you have it, but you got work to do. So it took 7 years. My highest weight was 408. My lowest weight has been 196 pounds. And in that journey, I realized that I had a lot of mental baggage that I had to deal with. So I decided that I was going to try and figure it out. And I had no motivation from other people. I had to learn how to find it within. I encouraged and empowered myself. In the process, in that process, my husband was deployed. We came back. He came back. We got orders to Hawaii. I went to Hawaii, still trying to lose the weight, still trying to get it off, still dealing with mental stuff, emotional stuff. Marriage is kind of like on the brink due to the fact that I really didn't love myself. So I'm accusing him of doing things or going places or not giving me what I thought I should have. But at the end of the day, it was all me. Like, it literally was all me. So as I'm losing weight, I'm motivating myself and I'm finding the confidence to keep going, to do what I need to do. And one of my coworkers was like, you should be a personal trainer. And I was like, personal trainer? Like, in this process, I'm going to school, back to school to get my master's in counseling. And I was like, okay. She's like, you really should try it. You can go through AFA to get a military discount, and so on and so forth. So I decided to do it. However, it took me 3 times because I failed it 3 times before I actually passed it. And I wanted to give up, but I had, one person telling me, just keep going, just keep going, just keep going, and keep trying. You're not going to give up. You're going to keep doing it. So I finally, at the last test, I finally passed it. And so in that process, I was like, if I'm dealing with all this, surely other women are dealing with the same thing. And so that's when I learned fitness is not physical. It's a mental journey. And you have to mentally be prepared to keep going or else you'll stop and fail. So I just continued to keep going. And I was like, what should I name it? What should I name my personal trainer? And they were just like, you should do Size Healthy. And I was just like, or Healthy Size, because I was at that point where I would never be the BMI, be on the chart for the BMI to where the doctors would consider me healthy. But however, I had lost 2 people. So I'm like, I'm healthy for me. So in that journey, it's like, I'm doing this for me. I'm not doing it for anybody else. I just want to be healthy. So that's where Size Healthy came from. I was just like, okay, just be a healthy size. If you can walk up the stairs without being out of breath, if you're off medication, if your blood pressure was high and now it's low, you're still making changes in your physique, but you're doing it mentally versus just trying to go out there and just like, oh, you try to lose 10 pounds, can't lose 10 pounds, and you just give up. And so then you have to start over. And that's how the cycle keeps going over and over again.
Thank you. Thank you for, I think it's it's always a huge benefit to hear someone's journey, because you always, I feel like those listening, you always see something where it's like, oh, I'm not the only one, that has experienced this or thought this, so on and so forth. And so from what you just said, I want to ask a question about Size Healthy. But then before that, you failed 3 times, or you failed 2 and got it on the third.
No, I failed 3 times.
Okay.
So I failed 3 times.
You are going to school for counseling. Someone is like, hey, you should try to be a fitness instructor. You fail. I'm thinking myself, maybe some others out there, what keeps you from not kind of like overly internalizing that to be like, oh, maybe this is a sign. Maybe I shouldn't. What keeps you going?
Because it's on me. Like, it literally, I want to help so many people and let them know that this journey that you're on, things happen. You get pregnant, you get married, you're looking for that high school body, life changes, the pandemic happened. People have gained so much weight during that because they couldn't go anywhere. They're depressed. And physical fitness actually helps with depression and anxiety. So what happened for me was I felt like I needed to keep pushing, like, oh, I failed it the first time. Okay, I failed it the first time. The second time, I was like, okay, now I'm getting like, I can't do this. I don't think I need to do this. I don't need this personal training certification. I can still motivate people. I don't need the paper. But then at the end of the day, it's just like, whenever I set myself out to do something, no, it's like, I heard this from Eric, E.T., the hip hop preacher. He said, no is a turn on. So it's kind of like, no, what you mean no? Like, I know I can do this, because the only part that I was failing was the physical part. I got everything together. It was the muscles and the skeleton. I'm like, things that you don't say in everyday language was the things that they wanted you to actually learn just for the certification part. Because literally, I'm not going to say your gluteus maximus or your quadriceps. I'm not going to use those words, because not everybody knows what those words are. So I wanted to make it as plain as possible. But in the meantime, I was still encouraging myself as well, because I was like, okay, I can do this. It's like almost like saying, I want to lose 100 pounds. But if I don't make it at the end of the year, I don't give up. I just keep going until I reach 100 pounds. So I had to keep going, and you get 3 tries. At 3 tries, after the third try, you have to pay for it. So you got to pay to have it redone. And I did not want to do that. So that also kept me going, like, okay, Tasha, you got to get this, because if you don't, you got to pull out another $200-300 to get this certification. And I didn't want to go through all of the work, because I'd already went to the class and did that part. So it was actually just trying to take the test. So you could keep retaking the test, but you got 3 tries and that was it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think more of us, myself included, have to look at the failures, or the fall downs, maybe it's not a failure, as part of the journey, and sometimes it is like, I'm going after this thing, but whether or not it's for me is not predicated on, was it super smooth, did I just get it in the first go ahead, like you said, you wanting to lose weight, and God kind of being like, you have to work for it, like working for these goals and aspirations that we have, really builds the person we are upon achieving. So Size Healthy. I love that, first of all. I have been thinking about lately, literally the other day, it just came to mind that I'm like, man, every part of our body, from face to, to body, we have found something about it that we don't like, and we have the ability to change it. You don't like your jawline, that can be changed. You don't like your nose, that can be changed. And I also have pondered on the fact that we have accepted, though hard earned in many scenarios, we've accepted that there are different hair types, that there are different skin tones. But in regard to different body shapes and sizes, it kind of seems like we're aware that they're there. Obviously, we see these things, it's in our face, but we're still sometimes reluctant as a people to accept the fact that as you know, kind of what you're saying, size healthy looks different on each person. And my question is, was there, I mean, you kind of hit on it, but like, what was that process of you being like, okay, this is working for me? Did you ever go through a point of trying to be that ideal, and really having to realize like, no, healthy is ideal?
Right. So with that, it seems like if you're morbidly obese, the magic number to be is 200 or under 200. It's always, oh, I just want to be 200 pounds. And so I had that in my head. I just want to be 200 pounds. Like, I've never been this small since I was in high school. I tell people I came out the womb big. I mean, I was a 9-pound baby. So it's like, healthy to me was, oh, I had to look the part of what everybody else said it was. Like, I didn't want to kill myself to try to get to the BMI that the doctor says that I should be. And then it irritated me because I was trying to kill myself literally in physical fitness, trying to look a certain part and not believing in the fact that we're all made different. We're all meant to be a certain size. But society puts it on us that we have to look like this or we have to look like that. And it's totally unfair because we're all meant to be different, which my tagline is, I am a unique design. So it's like, and with unique being YOU, meaning whatever it is that you want to be or how you want your body to be, it's up to you. It has nothing to do with anybody else. And so I struggled with that for a while, and I finally got it. I was just like, you know what? I'm going to just be healthy. Like, that's all I need to be. Because honestly, the only thing that I had, which I was fortunate, I had no ailments. I didn't have high blood pressure. I was just a big girl. And I'm anemic. So that was the only thing I had against me as far as being, like, if you wanted to be ailment free. I only had, I'm only anemic. So it's just like, I deal with women every day who are just like, I just want to be like this, or I want butt like that, or I want arms like that, or I want this. And I'm just like, stop picking and find what you want for yourself and go for it. And so that's how I struggle this, and I tell people all the time, I struggle just like you are struggling right now with wanting to look a certain way. But at some point it finally clicked. And I was like, you know what? I just want to be me. And even now, like, I don't compare trying to look like anybody else. I just want to be me, and I just want to be healthy for me. And whatever that looks like for me is what I'm going to work towards. And I promote that with other women as well. Like, what does that look like for you? Because at the end of the day, whatever size you get to, are you going to be able to maintain that? Or is it just for the moment? And so I don't deal with just for the moment. I want to be able for you to be able to establish a lifestyle and maintain.
Yeah. No, that's good. So you said what you I don't know if you said that here, but what we had talked about before was you doing mindset coaching, and so wanting you to explain that for the person that's never heard of mindset coaching, but then we'll go from there. I'm gonna just stop with that, and then I'll tack on the other. But what is mindset coaching for the person that has never heard of it?
So mindset coaching is pretty much just trying to help the person change the behavior, and then changing the behavior, helping them believe in themselves, giving them affirmations, positive vibes. I tell people, can't is not a word. My favorite scripture is, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. So if God said we can, then that means can't was never an option. Like, that's not an option for you. So mindset coaching, just pretty much, I help them change the behavior that they want to change, but they can't get it here. So we start here first so that it'll resonate throughout the body. So it's just pretty much change the behavior. It's actually psychology, which is what I went to school for, but it's change psychology, just getting them to see the positive in everything and not so much focus on the negative. So I always try to give them an example. As for me, I'm bottom heavy, so I have big legs. So for so long, I focused on the negatives of me having big legs. Like, oh, I can't wear shorts, I can't wear a bathing suit, I have cellulite, I have fat knees, stuff like that. So after a while, I started doing a mirror intervention where I would stand in front of the mirror and tell myself what I liked about myself. So changing how you view yourself in a positive way, and the negative stuff, don't focus on it, because at some point it will change, but it will only change when you start speaking those positive affirmations and not downing yourself, which women do all the time. We focus so much on the negative, or if someone gives us a compliment, oh, but it was only 5 pounds. I'm like, 5 pounds is 5 pounds, doesn't matter. So say thank you, and don't give a rebuttal back like saying, oh no, it's just that. No, it's more than that. It's your body. It's the work that you put in for it. So I get them to see the positive of everything. And I love doing the mirror intervention, because a lot of times women don't like to look in the mirror at themselves because they don't like what they see. But I try to get them to see the positive in everything that you have. And that you don't like, just tell yourself, I'm working on you. And at some point it will change. But right now I'm not going to focus on it, but I'm just going to keep doing the work. And that's pretty much all you have to do. So it's just changing how they think, setting their mind up for success versus setting it up for failure.
Was there any point that mindset coaching, or even for yourself, like you said, looking in the mirror, where there was also the taking time to consider like how God has looked at you and like put you together, in, like you said, a very unique way? Like how has your faith affected also how you operate in this field for yourself, but then also those that you work with?
So my faith literally has increased in that area, only because at some point, like I said, I did not believe in me. I didn't have the motivation to motivate myself, much less somebody else. And then the encouragement and the empowerment. So as I got in my journey, a lot of people were telling me, this is a ministry, because my gym isn't set up like any other gym. Like you literally, it's all women. I talk to them. I do lock-ins with them. I check on them. I text them. I call them. We celebrate together. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, you want to do the work. This is what you want to do. I got you. You got to do the work. But I had to do the work within me first before I could do it with anybody else. So within me, God showed me that, hey, this is what I want you to do. However, you got to deal with your own baggage, because in your baggage, you'll be able to encourage somebody else that's going through something that you already went through. So I get a lot of people that come to me and they're just like, they ask me for my opinion, or there'll be people that's not even part of my gym that might message me and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. Or, I'm not looking to be, even though I know that people look at me as an inspiration, I'm doing what I would normally do on a regular basis. And Size Healthy Fitness is not a job. It's actually who I am. And it was based off of what I went through. So that's how it came to be. But my faith has increased tremendously, like literally praying for each other. We actually have prayer sometimes in the studio. If someone's going through, they walk in crying, let's go, we got to pray. So we pray. Or, if someone's in the hospital or anything like that. But my faith, they already know that's number one. Like you have to, I'm not pushing my faith on you, but just know when you walk in the door, you're going to get the love. I'm going to be the light. I'm going to encourage you. I'm going to empower you. I'm going to show you what you need to do. And like I said, I can do all things through Christ is the one scripture that has always, from day one, got me through, even when I wanted to give up. And it's on my wall. Like I literally put it on the wall in the studio, and did all the other things. You're beautiful. You're phenomenal. You're a Proverbs 31 woman. All of those things, because every attribute of a woman is located in the Bible. I'm like, God designed you just the way you are, and that's how you're supposed to be. Now, he did say we have to be healthy. However, but he still designed you just the way you are. And there's no need to even try to look like anybody else. I don't try. Like you could see me, I stand out, and I try not to, but I stand out really, like a sore thumb. Like people like, oh, that's like something. I'm like, how did y'all know? Like, but yeah, my faith has really increased, and I'm so thankful for this journey and the ability to help other women lose the weight, but not only just lose the weight, but change their mindset about it. Because women, we beat ourselves up a lot about the way we look, and it gets overwhelming sometimes, but it's what I do. So
yeah, no, I love that. It's kind of the beauty of our testimony being able to be a testament to others, and therefore like helping, to bring them along. So you mentioned at the beginning that just the rockiness of your relationship as you're in the beginning stages of size healthy, what would become size healthy fitness. But I do also we had talked at a different time, and you mentioning that your husband was one of the people that was really rooting you on, in the beginning. And so what has that looked like, to be going on this journey and to, have your husband like, hey, I'm rooting for you, as you're embarking on this.
So not only does he root for me, he actually works for me now. So we have expanded Size Healthy Fitness. It's Size Healthy Fitness and Performance. So we do women and kids. And so the kids are athletes that go to school that are participating in some type of sport. So he does strength and conditioning. And so the kids come in as well. And they always they call me mom, but they all come in. They train with him, and he roots me on because I also do powerlifting. So I feel like I get more, he gives me the more sterner part of the training than anybody else. But he's my coach for powerlifting, and he runs my powerlifting team. So it's amazing to have him there, because at first, when we first started, it was rocky because he wasn't on board with what I was doing. You know how men are. It's like, okay, I got to make sure money comes in so I can make sure the bills are paid. So my job as a victim advocate at the time in Hawaii, the contract ended. So I was able to draw unemployment from that and then try to start this new thing. So in starting this new thing, he didn't know where it was going to go, and neither did I. But every time when I came back to Jacksonville, North Carolina, I tried to get a job, and I couldn't. Like, literally, I couldn't go back to where I worked for 5 years. Like, I literally worked there 5 years, couldn't get back. So I was like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And God's going to open doors that I'm not going to struggle. If it's meant for me to be in that door, he'll open it, I'll walk in, and I'll be cool. So yeah, so at first, in the beginning, he wasn't on board, but now he roots, he helps. He's been a great asset, takes a little bit of the, because it's a lot of work. So he takes a little of the pressure off of me. He takes up some of the slack. So yeah, he's been a great asset.
No, I love that. I love that, being able to be a team, and for the Lord to give you a vision and it really incorporate, the whole, and not just be, something that you are able to take part in, but the family aspect. So that's a beautiful thing. As we said before, like you were doing counseling. Did you know from the beginning, I want to incorporate this in the fitness, or was it kind of like, okay, I'm going to completely shift, like the initial?
So before starting, like I said, I used to listen to E.T., the hip hop preacher. So my goal was to be a motivational speaker. So I just wanted to be a motivational speaker. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to motivate people. Then fitness came in, and then it was just like I was still motivating people. Like, I'm that girl who's in the race running, and I'm coming behind you. You got this, you got this. And then I just shoot on up and go to the next person. So it's always been in me, but it wasn't until I realized that people are having more problems with the mindset of trying to get their fitness in versus just doing physical fitness. I would see people lose weight, and then I would see them gain it back. So it was like, oh, they dropped it just that fast, but then they gained it back. And then they're like, I don't know what happened. And I still struggle with, not really struggle, but mentally I'm a thinker. So I'm like, how did I get to 408 pounds? So I'm very intrigued about how the mind works, because I'm like, at one point when was enough going to be enough? Like, it's like one of those things, or you'll see the 600-pound life and you're like, how did they get to 600 pounds? Where was the people in their life to tell them, hey, your weight is getting out of control, let me help you? I didn't have that. My husband never looked at my weight as an issue with him. I mean, because I was probably borderline 300 when he met me. Then when after I had my kids, I got to 330, and then it just kind of like, it just went after that. But every time I sit down and talk to somebody, I'm like, I don't know how I got to 408. I don't know when it registered that enough was enough, or when I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I guess when I actually decided to make the step to do something about my health. But for the most part, I didn't know. So it was just like, kind of like, what do I do? So if I'm struggling with this, then surely someone else is. And because I went to school for counseling and psychology is my background, it's just kind of like, okay, let's try to shift this. Let's do mind, body, and spirit, because you can't just do body. When you don't incorporate the other two, you just lose the weight, and that's it. But when you add the other two in, the mind and the spirit, it kind of like it holds you accountable for what you're trying to do, and it doesn't allow you to give up. And if you do know how to bounce back, and that's where God comes in. So I always tell people the vertical has to be correct, or else the horizontal will not work.
Yeah, no, I love that. Yeah, and I think just like, yeah, just as a whole, understanding that I feel like it has come up so much in different conversations, hearing you talk about mindset coaching, just the understanding of the renewing of the mind. And yes, you know, there are people that don't believe that they can, you know, think differently, but you know, from a biblical standpoint, you know, the Lord renewing our mind, I think that's huge and so vital to the way that we do everything. And as we see from here, this is not just, you know, the way I treat people, yes, but it's also the way I treat me, you know?
Right, exactly. Because if you don't treat yourself right, then how do you expect to treat somebody else? So if I don't take value in who I am, when the ladies come in, or I call them divas, when the divas come in and they looking at me, they're like, okay, well, you come in here looking like this, so how do you expect? And I always tell them, when you walk in the door, it's all about you. There's no kids, no husband, nobody around. So whatever you have going on, leave it out the back, leave it out the door. If you decide to pick it up when you walk back out, that's on you. But while you're in here, it's all about you, and you're going to work on you, whatever that means. Sometimes they get counseling. They'll sit down and talk to me. I'll coach them. And sometimes they come in, they're ready to work out. And in the midst of their workout, they might break down, and then we stop and we talk and we go from there. But I want to make sure that they get the total package, and not just another person that walks in the door. Oh, your training's over. Okay, see you later. Bye. Until next time. No, I want them to be able to have a relationship with me, so that I can be able to direct them in the direction that they're trying to go in, and also teach them how to do it. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to just be talking. I want you to learn what I'm telling you. So if you're learning what I'm telling you, then you'll be able to see what I'm saying. And then that's where change occurs. So it's pretty much what I do.
Yeah. The personal aspect of something that could easily, you know, without care, be kind of a consumerism thing, you know?
Exactly.
So I thank you for sitting down with me. The last thing that I want to ask you is, what are your words to lift by? So the podcast is here to edify in the midst of just a world where there's so much going on, even, you know, in the past few months of this year. What are your words to lift by that just keep you lifted in the day to day?
My favorite scripture, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength, but also the word I can. And unique design. So I can do whatever it is that I want to do, I will do, and I did do it. So she believed she could, so she did. And so I believed that I could, so I did. And I continue to move in that direction. And like you said, I love what you said earlier about this is just my beginning. And there's, like I always tell people, there's levels to this. And when God sees that it's time for you to move to the next level, then that's when he elevates you. So I'm just in that process, because my ultimate goal is to continue to do mindset coaching, and still train, but not as much. That's where the other people come in and they'll train. But I want them to be able to get that mindset coaching, and my favorite, and for me to reach my goal of being able to travel around the world and motivate other women. So
that would be amazing. And I definitely wish you the best in all of your endeavors. I'm always thankful for, just in general, the people that take the time to like, all right, I'm not going to loathe where I am or where I was, you know, but I'm taking this and I'm using this, allowing the Lord to use this. And so, thank you for sharing.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you again for taking the time to listen to this episode of Here to Edify. This podcast can be found wherever you listen. And as always, I hope to catch you listening next time.